So after talking about parallel and perpendicular, now we can have some fun with some more constructions here. So the first thing we talk about is how do you construct a perpendicular line? Let's start with perpendicular line. So construct a perpendicular line. Through, let's make it a little more challenging, through point E. So let me make a line that has a point E. All right, and I'm just going to put it anywhere. Let's put it right here. Let's just say this is point E. All right, so I want a perpendicular line through point E. Okay, let's think about this. Now think back to how we found the midpoint. If you remember midpoint, we started with our endpoints. We made two arcs at one endpoint, another arc at the other. And then we had that little bisecting line that goes in between it. Well, it's basically the same concept here. Now, in this case, my endpoint's here, but it's all the way over here. This isn't going to be a midpoint, is it? That's not going to be a midpoint. But what I can do, I can still use my compass to find two equidistant points. So the word equidistant. Equidistant means that they are the same distance away. So I'm going to use my compass, and I'm going to basically create two, what I'm going to call endpoints. They're not really endpoints. They're just little points of reference, but we can pretend like they're endpoints. So now these 2 points are the exact same distance away. All right, so once again, all I had to do is just center it here, make an arc here, and if you want, I can just go ahead and show you the perfect circle. All right, that's how I know that these two are the same distance away from E. E is at the center of the circle. All right, so now I can just treat this the way I did finding the midpoint. I need to open my compass up just a little. That way I get past the point I need to go. So let's make a little arc. A little arc. All right, so I'm going to put the pointy end on my other end point. And I'm going to make another arc. All right. And we got kind of, it's kind of funny, these, all three of them intersect. Usually that doesn't happen, just so you know. But just like the midpoint, what I'm looking for is where these two arcs intersect. So this arc intersects down here. Again, usually this point is not going to be right over the circle that we made originally, that original arc. Usually these are not going to line up. We just happen to work out that way. So now I can make my perpendicular line. So there we go. So now I have a line that is perpendicular to E, and we got pretty close. So that's a line perpendicular to E. It's just, again, it's just like finding midpoint. All right, you basically the same steps. The only thing we did different is that because E was not an actual midpoint, I had to make two equidistant points so that I can put the pointy end of my compass into both of them to make those two middle arcs. That was the only difference. So that's for a perpendicular line. Let's do a parallel line. Construct a line parallel let's see. So construct a line parallel to line AB. All right, so let's make a line parallel to AB. So let me go ahead and draw it out here. All right, so this is going to be line A, B. All right. So to me, these are kind of a little more difficult. So just follow step by step here. And with a little bit of practice, you'll get it. So the first thing I do, I'm just going to make a random line that intersects this. Right. So just follow along with me. I'm just going to make a random line. I'm not even going to get a name, just a random line. Later on, we're going to call this a transversal. If you have two parallel lines, a line that goes across it is called a transversal. So I just made a random line. It doesn't have to be any particular angle. Just, something like this is good. So now here's what I'm going to do. Construct a line parallel to AB, and let's make it a little more harder. We'll say that passes through point H. Okay, let's call it H. So let's just put H right here. And this is my intersection. So I just made a random line, and so it goes through H. So I need a parallel line that goes through H, this point right here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to, just my compass here. I need to make an arc that goes through both of these lines. So my arc has to go through both. Now, I'm not going to adjust my compass. I'm going to leave it alone. Right? Because I want the same size arc that I have on this point. I'm going to make the same size arc on this point. So I'm going to try and center it the best that I can. Okay. So I have two arcs. They're the same distance away. This is the same distance from this one. Okay, so two arcs the same distance away. Now, here's the next step. Look at where this arc intersects my transversal. Look at where the arcs intersect the transversal. That's going to be the next spot that I put the pointy end. And I'm going to adjust this all the way until I meet up with this intersection right here. Notice where the arc intersects the line that I want to be parallel to. So I have to intersect the line I want to be parallel to. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for this one. I'm not going to adjust my compass. Okay, I'm not adjusting it. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing. Same thing. All right. Now I'm going to put a point where these two intersect. You probably know where we're going from here. Now that I have 2 points, because I know it has to go through this point right here. So now all I have to do is connect my two lines. Now I have two lines that are parallel. So this line is parallel to line AB, and it passes through point H. So these are two parallel lines. Now just do a lot of practice with this, okay? Because this will be on the test. It might even be on a CBA. You never know. Same thing for this one. When it comes to perpendicular lines, how to make a perpendicular line, that's probably going to be on the test. And it might even be on the CBA as well. So these constructions are important. And, just give you a heads up on like a CBA, when they have these things, they'll give you a picture like this, and they'll say, well, what were they trying to construct? Like they might have something like this. They'll show you like 3 of these arcs, but they won't have the line in the middle. And they'll be asking you, well, what are they trying to make? Well, you would say, well, if I got 3 arcs like this, then obviously I'm trying to make a perpendicular line, right? You do the same logic on this one. You would say, okay, well, what are they trying to make next? What are they connecting here? Look at the dots that you want to connect. So that's how you make a perpendicular and a parallel line with a straight edge and compass.